That truth about understanding yourself at a deeper level and understanding the potential that you have is that you will no longer um, connect with the world. You will no longer try to find the right words. You will no longer relate to the world or become relatable anymore, because now you start to understand the purpose that you have to serve, and start to understand what is it that you have to do, right? Because there's a line by Epictetus. It says that there is no peace for the man who has seen what he could become. So from that point on, you understand your potential, understand the potential that you have. You understand how you have to apply it in this world and how you have to impact the world. Or it can be yourself, or it can be a family, whatever way you have to impact the world or the universe. You start to realize that it brings a lot of sorrow, it brings a lot of pain, and it deprives you from the pleasure and the happiness and all such things. Because now you start to understand that you are the warrior in the battlefield, and constantly, you are fighting the opponents, you are fighting the enemies, And in this analogy, I'm trying to explain that you are constantly fighting the bad energies, the negative energies, because people who understand their potential and who understand themselves at a very deeper level beyond the egotistic humanic flesh, I would say that majority of the time they face a lot of bad used words. Like they would say something trying to slander them down, or they would say a lot of things trying to destroy their morale or destroy their confidence in such a way. And that's what I'm talking about when I say the negative energies and such that. And they are there for a reason. As much as we can try to say people, they are who they are and they act because they project their fears, but they are needed for a reason, because for you to become the warrior, you need you need the opponents, you need the other side of the opposition to be fighting against you. And if you don't have the opposition, then you can never get the claim or the entitlement of being a warrior. So same as you can never know how much potential you have when you have peace around you. So that's what Epictetus was trying to convey. In my perspective, I believe he was trying to say, if you are comfortable in whatever area that you are in, just know that you haven't found yourself yet. Because comfortability doesn't breed growth, neither it breeds what you would call self-knowledge or self-awareness, or such things. It's only when you're in an uncomfortable situation you start to see or start to reveal the true self. And I believe that for those who believe that they have the greatest potential to impact the world, and for those who are at a younger age, my advice is find reasons not to find peace. Like go through it, because when you seek peace and you still withhold this a lot of amount of potential, when you seek peace and there's this potential and peace here, when you combine them together, you don't really spark the good ideas, or you don't really execute any of the good ideas that you have. So what you could try to do is try to be in an uncomfortable situation where you could really, start to execute your ideas. Because one thing I could tell you is that diamonds are made under pressure. And you seek pressure also. You seek people who will constantly be at your neck, and you have to fight them off. You can never give in and neither give up also. You have to, keep fighting till the end. So with great power comes great responsibility also. That's one thing you should also remember and something you should keep in mind. Because if we are chasing money and we are chasing the status and we are chasing all these things that we want, you must first identify the potential that you have. And for you to identify the potential that you have, you must first identify the uncomfortable situations that you fear or that you are trying to avoid in your life. Then when you identify such, it is easy for you to get to the final stage that you are seeking. But not all the time you have to seek your potential for money or for any materialistic things that you seek from this world. Sometimes you have to seek your potential to understand why you are actually here. Right? Because if we are all here and we don't understand ourselves, I feel like there are higher chances of you coming back to redo the same thing over and over until you find yourself. So take this like you are in a class and they're trying to teach you how to solve a math problem, and you keep struggling about that math problem. The teacher cannot move to the next equation if you haven't solved that one. So I feel like the universe is the teacher, is trying to make you identify the potential that you have. And when I say potential, I don't simply mean the purpose and being a genius or being whatever. I simply mean you, beyond this egotistic humanic flesh. Like I said, the potential is being the you that exists and that doesn't exist at the same time. That is potential, right? And if you cannot understand it or you don't seek it, I feel like you are bound to reincarnate over and over again until you really find it. Because there's no ascension to the next level if you are still struggling with the same mission. So I feel like we are here and we are seeking to understand what we are, and if we understand what we are, I think we could also understand where we are going. But we have to remember that the human mind can never comprehend what's outside of its own senses or what's outside of its own 5 senses that it uses. And if we rely more on the human flesh, then that's more and more we get derailed from our own mission. Because I believe that we are both physical and metaphysical. And above so below, everything so is without. So you must keep the balance between the both worlds. So for you to understand the potential that you have, you must understand that you will never have peace from that point on, because that's same as awareness. The minute you become woke, the minute you start to see the light in everything that seems to be beautiful, to be happiness, to be to be luxurious, to be everything in itself, that's when you start to realize that none of this actually, they really exist. And when you realize none of this actually exists, then that's when you start to go through something we would call ego death. That's when you start to realize that I also don't actually exist, to the point that my senses want me to believe I'm actually more. I'm beyond what I can touch, what I can smell, what I can see, and what I can hear. I'm actually beyond that. So that's, I feel like personally, when Epic Teachers wrote that line, maybe he might have was trying to say something. In my own ways, I'm reading it in a sense of saying, there is no peace for the man who has seen what he could become. He says, if you could see that you are more than the physical, then you would start to understand that the whole world is a lie. And when you understand that, and when you start to understand that the whole world is a lie, then there is no peace for you, because now it's the uncomfortable, harsh truth that none of this you've been seeking. It's actually there. It's actually the construct of your mind, so it can keep you in place, so it can keep you believing that this is just all it is, when there's more to it, And I actually believe also that what gets illuminated, or what's in the light, there's a saying that goes that what's in the light, what's in the dark will always find its way to the light. I believe that whatever it's in the light, it's a lie, because the spotlight chooses what to illuminate. And what's in the darkness, there's actually more in the darkness as compared to what's in the light. Because I could choose to move the spotlight to here, I could choose it to move it here, I could choose it to make it face upwards, so it can make you believe that actually this is just complete darkness. But in the darkness, that's more you find the real answers as compared to the light, because the light only illuminates what it wants to illuminate. So again, back to Epictetus, I believe that's what he was trying to say. That the minute you become woke, it's no longer gonna be fun, because fun, happiness, and joy, they never were a thing. It was just something you would call a chemical reaction in the brain, that causes certain amount of dopamine, and we would call serotonin, and I forget the other names of that thing. So it's just a chemical reaction in the brain that makes you feel alive, a little bit alive in the physical sense, right? But none of these things actually are there, because a soul cannot feel, a soul cannot touch, a soul cannot do anything. It can only observe, and that's its main job. But the human being is built to feel, touch, smell, taste, do all of those things, right? And that's what I believe, that's the light, when there's more to it in the darkness, right? So you have to balance the both worlds, the both physical and the both metaphysical, because I believe part of growth comes from keeping balance in taking care of the physical, which is the body, the mental, which is the mind, and also the spiritual, right, which is your spirit. All of those things you have to take care of, all of them, because the mind is I'm trying to find the right words, but I would say the mind is the middleman between the physical and the metaphysical. The mind is the middleman between the physical and the metaphysical. And if you don't take care of the mind, neither the body could be taken care of, same as the spirit, and you would cease to exist in this world if you cannot take care of it.